You're watching ABC7 News at 7.
Feeling that you can be tracked anywhere that you go, and I guess the argument that that would be a violation of your Fourth Amendment right to avoid searches and seizures.
The only time we're going to see an image of a tag or get any kind of alert on it is if the registered owner of that vehicle is associated with a crime.
Red light cameras aren't just used to give you a ticket, they can be used to help law enforcement with investigations. So why is the city of Sarasota against them? Good evening, everyone. I'm Alan Cohn, and welcome to ABC7 at 7. We'll have more on red light cameras in a moment, but first our top 7 stories at 7. And we begin tonight with a dilemma in Manatee County where a school bus driver convicted of soliciting prostitution is now fighting to keep his job. 50-year-old Jerome Heaven was arrested in an undercover operation conducted by Bradenton police last year. Heaven was convicted by a jury in February and sentenced to probation and 100 hours of community service. He is still employed by the school district, but hasn't been in contact with students since his arrest, which is expected to continue if he gets to keep his job.
My suspicion is, or expectation is, that no, without hearing the merits of the case, I think if he was removed from contact with children, that's how it would remain.
On Friday, the district will take the issue to the school board and ask board members to fire him. Sarasota police detectives are trying to identify a man who robbed clerks at 2 different hotels early this morning. Just after midnight, a man walked into the lobby of the Quality Inn on North Tamiami Trail in Sarasota. The man implied he had a firearm, prompting the clerk to give him an undisclosed amount of cash before he ran off. About 20 minutes later, the same man attempted to rob the clerk at the Days Inn down the road, again implying he had a firearm. The suspect is described as a white male, 5'8" to 5'9", thin build, mid to late 50s, blue eyes and light color hair. If you have any information on this case, contact the Sarasota police. A Bradenton woman is going to prison for 5 years for selling drugs to an undercover deputy. According to court documents, Siobhan Montgomery sold crack cocaine to an undercover deputy from the Manatee County Sheriff's Office 2 separate times. In total, law enforcement recovered approximately 33 grams of fentanyl and heroin during the investigation. School board members would be limited to 8 years in office under a new proposal moving forward in the State Constitution Revision Commission. The proposed constitutional amendment would limit county school board members who are elected on November 6 or later to no more than 2 consecutive 4-year terms. The proposal is similar to a constitutional amendment adopted by Florida voters in 1992, limiting the terms of state lawmakers.
Looking forward to the new crop of individuals that are going to walk through those doors in November and bring fresh ideas and new perspective. And I think it's a very important thing for our political process.
We shouldn't have term limits because if you mess up, they will get you out. They will limit your term. We don't need to do it. We need to let the people do it.
The commission voted 27-6 to advance the proposal. Governor Rick Scott was in Lakeland today highlighting efforts to fight human trafficking in Florida. Scott says there would be $6.2 million in new funding for the expansion of human trafficking services. This would expand to in-home treatment through community service teams, foster care, and emergency services. Since 2013, Scott has invested more than $45 million into combating human trafficking in Florida. Almost 22% of the students at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School were absent from their first period class today after 2 students allegedly brought weapons to school yesterday and another made a threat on social media. According to a spokeswoman for the Broward County School District, 724 students weren't there when classes started. And FBI agents served a search warrant for a home for a man with connections to accused Parkland school shooter Nicholas Cruz. 22-year-old Jordan Jerub says he is the leader of the Republic of Florida militia group, which claimed Cruz belonged to the group and took part in paramilitary drills in Tallahassee. A vigil was held today for the victims of last week's bridge collapse at Florida International University. 6 people were killed when the massive pedestrian bridge crashed onto the street below. The bridge had been installed the previous Saturday, and an engineer had warned of cracking on the bridge 2 days before it collapsed. Time to check in on the first alert forecast with Wendy Ross for Bob Harrigan. Wendy?
Hello, Alan, and take a look outside. It's absolutely a beautiful night tonight. We've got a few clouds out there. It's not clear skies right now. What you cannot see very well are the winds. They're still very strong, and our temperatures are going to run anywhere from 10 to 12 degrees less than they were yesterday. So we're looking at a real change as a result of that cold front that's gone on through. But right now, it really is awfully pretty outside as the sun is beginning to set. So we've got the winds coming in out of the northwest behind that cold front, and then we get an occasional cloud that's going to come on through. No rain. We don't have to worry about rain. And then the winds will shift around and come directly to the north from the north, and that will help to drive those temperatures down before they shift back again to the northwest. And right now you can see all across the Gulf Coast states, the state of Florida, we are looking at fair skies. Just a few clouds out here in the Gulf of Mexico. They'll be moving on in throughout the night, but they are not going to produce any rain. So right now temperatures are in the 60s, 63 degrees. It's the dew point and the humidity that you're going to notice how low it is. Northwesterly winds now coming in at around 17 miles per hour. So they've been lessening throughout the evening hours. And right now across the region we've got temperatures that are mostly in the 60s, and just about everyone is experiencing partly cloudy skies at this hour. We're going to continue to see those temperatures drop as the night wears on, but we don't have to worry about rain tonight. Just keep in mind, if you're heading out the door, you are going to need a jacket or possibly a sweater if you're not from Florida, because it's going to be chilly. You're going to feel the difference tonight.
And when I tell my kid it's only 66 degrees around here, he's in northern New Jersey where it is not good right now. It is
not good right now. No, 4th nor'easter going across the northeastern part of the country, and of course they're getting snow and ice and conditions we couldn't bear down here.
Right. Thanks a lot, Wendy. And still to come, red light cameras in Florida and license plate readers. Why aren't they being used in Sarasota?
Love your couch and want to protect it from spills, food, and scratching, shedding pets. Introducing Couch Coat, the reversible, washable quilted cover that protects your couch. Shield against spills, wow, stop stains, and dirty pet paws and sharp claws. Plus, it's reversible with 2 stylish colors. Guaranteed to fit any couch up to 92 inches or your money back. It even has covers to protect armrests. Machine washable too.
My grandkids destroy everything, but with Couch Coat, my couch is always protected, looking as good as it did the day I bought it.
Get your Couch Coat for just $19.99, and it's reversible in brown and cream, like 2 couch coats for the price of 1. Order right now and you can double your offer. Get a second Couch Coat. Just pay a separate fee. Order right now.
Call 1-800-943-0710 to get your couch coat. Call now or go to couchcoat.com. So call 1-800-943-0710. That's 1-800-943-0710. Call now.
It's time to take a road trip.
Alabama's got 100 road trips, and some of the best are music to your ears, like the Alabama Music Hall of Fame. Or head over to Muscle Shoals and Fame Studios. Are you a star yet?
My mama thinks so.
Or, if that's your stomach I hear grumbling, our barbecue is almost a religious experience. Food good here? Best in the country. Alabama's got 100 road trips.
Which one you gonna take?
Since 1972, Sleep King has provided quality mattresses and accessories at the best discounted prices available. Top brands like Simmons, Sealy, Serta, Beautyrest, iComfort, and more. With available free delivery, free financing, and free setup and removal. For a comfortable night's sleep with same-day delivery, even if we have to carry it on our backs. Trust Sleep King of Sarasota. Buy it today, sleep on it tonight.
Check out mysuncoast.com/dining, your guide to the foodie lifestyle.
Once again, an effort to outlaw red light cameras across Florida failed in the state legislature, but it's sure to come back next year. Red light cameras continue to be controversial, and tonight we explore why, and we begin with Dwayne Lindo. Dwayne.
Well, Alan, it seems like a common theme every year. The House looking to eliminate red light cameras, while the Senate says nope, not so fast. And if it was up to one woman who originally led the charge to legalize them, red light cameras would be here to stay.
When it comes to red light camera advocates, you can say Bradenton resident Melissa Wandel is a leader. She led the charge back in 2010 to legalize red light cameras across Florida after her husband died when a woman running a red light crashed into his car.
And as they went through the intersection on green, a driver going anywhere from 48 to 52 miles an hour ran the light and killed my husband instantly and severely injured my brother.
Earlier this year, the House voted overwhelmingly to eliminate a law that has been around for 8 years. It's known as the Mark Wandel Traffic Safety Act, which allows local governments to use red light cameras. But just like previous years, an identical bill in the Senate failed to get the green light. While many who oppose red light cameras see this as just an alternative revenue source for the city, Wandel argues that these cameras improve traffic safety.
These red light safety cameras are a part of the picture at the end of the day. They're a part of making sure that people are not needlessly killed.
Going on to say when cities invest in these cameras, they're investing in saving lives.
It doesn't mean that cameras have to pop up all over these intersections. It just means that if a city or county feels that there's an intersection that is a dangerous intersection where people need to be reminded to stop on red, these red light safety cameras can be placed.
And in Sarasota, it's business as usual when it comes to these cameras, but now the city has acquired a new vendor to utilize better technology.
The new vendor is a flashless system, which means that when somebody runs a red light, there won't be a flash, so you won't have people distracted perhaps by the flash. They won't have people wondering if they got a ticket.
Sarasota police officer Todd Cheddar says this new technology will even be better than what they saw in previous years.
We saw a reduction of 30 crashes over from 16 to 2017 over the 10 different intersections.
For Wandel, she spent the last 14 years on highway safety and says she's planning on many more.
I stay on top of this because I want to know that they're being utilized correctly and that they are taking part in saving lives, because at the end of the day, that's what I stand for.
Now, Sarasota City Commissioners opted out against using technology which would have allowed cameras to take pictures of license plates.
And we'll be also talking about that. Dwayne, thank you very much. There are nothing but green lights from here to the trapezoid, so let's go.
Each day, researchers make discoveries that bring us closer to the moment when all cancer patients can become survivors. Their progress is made possible with the help of clinical trials. Clinical trials are the brightest torch researchers have to light their way towards better treatments. And if you've been diagnosed with cancer, they may be your brightest ray of hope. Speak with your doctor and visit standuptocancer.org/clinical trials to learn more. Together, we can stand up for all of us.
This is your brain. This is drugs. This is your brain on drugs. Any questions?
Yeah, I have questions.
Prescription drugs aren't as bad as street drugs, right?
Weed's legal, isn't it?
Drinking is worse than smoking weed.
Isn't it? Why
is heroin so addictive?
Molly just makes you feel happy.
I have questions.
Mom?
Dad, did you ever try drugs?
They're going to ask. Be ready. Go to drugfree.org. A message from Partnership for Drug-Free Kids.
Here we go. We're gonna go out there in the rain. Gonna get wet. All right, here we go. Go, bro.
Oh yeah, yes. So much fun. Mwah.
Hi, I'm Janelle Hale, founder and CEO of the National Breast Cancer Foundation. No one should face breast cancer alone. When I was diagnosed 36 years ago, there was no internet, and I had to make a decision with little information. Early detection saved my life. It could save yours too. To learn what every woman needs to know about breast cancer, visit nbcf.org/hope.
Invest in Kids is a $7.5 million project to build a new Boys and Girls Club in South Manatee County. I'm Caleb Grimes, and I was a club kid. It's where I learned important life lessons, leadership, integrity, responsibility, and baseball. Thousands of kids attend the Boys and Girls Clubs, and after years of use, their club is slowly falling apart. Help us invest in kids. Make your donation today.
Thank you.
Welcome back. Red light cameras and license plate readers. Tonight we discuss both. First, in the state legislature, it has become an annual effort to eliminate red light cameras. What was once seen as an important tool to prevent serious accidents has become the target of continual efforts to repeal. Meanwhile, the city of Sarasota has voted not to add license plate readers to its system, even though some local communities use them to fight crime. And joining us for more is Susan Nylon of the ACLU, private investigator Bill Warner, and ABC7's Dwayne Lindo. Dwayne, I know that some of the opponents in Tallahassee and around the state oppose red light cameras because they believe that local law enforcement agencies and local communities are only using them to raise revenue.
Yeah. Like the House Speaker even mentioned that it's all about raising revenue. And once one House member said, and I quote, nearly half the money collected from red light violations goes to vendors that provide these cameras. So that's one of the issues that the House basically the House has.
Right, and Bill, that was a big issue in Bradenton, which you're familiar with, that the city itself, there were a lot of discussions about how much the vendors there were charging and their take and not going to the city, and that has led to a whole bunch of things in terms of red light cameras in Bradenton.
That's a big problem. That kind of annoys me to hear this because I didn't realize the vendors were taking almost, 50%? That's outrageous. I mean, it's supposed to be a safety issue. We're supposed to keep people from going through red lights. Why is it such a monetary thing for the vendors?
Right, and Susan, this has been problematic in a lot of communities around here, but you have to feel for people like Melissa Wendell, who lost her husband in this way, and there are people who believe that this is a matter of the safety of the driving public.
Yeah, I'd have to take a look at the statistics, though, to see how much of an improvement we've seen when there are red light cameras. I don't necessarily believe that it deters people from running them. People who run them for a lot of reasons. A lot of times because they're just not paying attention. Getting a ticket afterwards isn't going to prevent an accident. It's not going to prevent somebody from running a red light. So I get the safety part of it, but there's a lot of other things we're giving up because of it.
Okay, we are just getting warmed up, and we'll have much more on red light cameras and license plate readers. Right now, let's go check the first alert weather. Stay with us.
When my youngest, Addie, was 2.5, she was diagnosed with leukemia. When we first heard that diagnosis, you feel extremely alone. Walking in that Light the Night light with 6,000 people carrying lights, white for survivors, red for supporters, gold in memory of those who have passed. It's the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society's hope that every year there are fewer gold lanterns. Your lantern will make a difference.
Start a team, join a team.
Help us light the night.
There's a lot of fear in coming back to school. I'm a 40-year-old man that walked in there to get his high school diploma. It was very hard for me, but one of the teachers was Miss Araceli. She gave me direction. Every single time I had a question, she'll put down whatever she's doing and she'll sit there with you until you get it. 50% of getting your high school diploma is walking through those doors. The other 50% is doing the work.
Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org.
I am the resident district manager on the FAU campus for Chartwell. Whenever I see Haley, I do not see a person with a disability. I see a person with extraordinary abilities. Haley is always smiling. She's always on time. She gives fantastic customer service and is always focused on any job that she's given.
Hi, this is Dan Marino. When your business recruits people with disabilities, everybody wins. To find out how, go to abilitieswork.employflorida.com.
This is the story of a boy who is very sensitive to lights and sounds. So he built secret hiding places where nothing could get in. The boy didn't like looking people in the eye. It made him feel uncomfortable. One day, he found out he had something called autism. His family got him help, and slowly, he learned how to live with it better.
Early intervention can make a lifetime of difference. Learn the signs at autismspeaks.org.
The skills you develop as a soldier in the Army National Guard can give you a head start on your career. Gain practical experience with technology and equipment that will give you a leg up in the civilian world. Learn critical leadership skills and to be part of a team. Serve your community and your country part-time while earning money for an education. Visit NationalGuard.com to learn about the paid training and career opportunities available to you in the Army National Guard.
Red light cameras and license plate readers continues right after we get a check on the first alert forecast with meteorologist Wendy Ross. Wendy.
Did you head to the beach today? Because if you did, you'll remember all of this, all that very strong surf. We had some riptide currents as well, and we also have small craft advisories that will stay in effect until tomorrow morning. So if you're heading out to the beach, just keep that in mind. We've got that cold, dry air sitting on top of us, and we've got temperatures that are going to be dropping anywhere from 8 to 12 degrees colder than they were yesterday. And we've got those gusty winds, of course, and you've been experiencing that as you've headed out the door. So the cold front is through. We've got the low pressure system bringing a bunch of nasty weather to the northeastern part of the country, the fourth nor'easter in a month, and that will continue off towards the northeast. And then we've got this high pressure system that is going to be our fair weather friend for a number of days. It's going to be moving across the Gulf Coast area, and it is going to provide us with lots and lots of sunshine across the Sunshine State. So we're going to be looking at some very nice conditions. You can see, though, the nasty weather that they're developing with snow and ice and rain from the Tennessee Valley northward and eastward. And in the western part of the country, we've got some rain and snow in the higher elevations out in the western half of the nation. But right here in the Sunshine State, that's what we're looking at. We've got a passing cloud. You can see some clouds developing out here in the Gulf, but that's about it. We're not going to be looking at any rain. And of course, we've got those dry conditions that have moved on in all the way up through the upper levels of the atmosphere. Dew points are low in the 30s to our north, right here across the Sun Coast, in the 50s right now, especially as you get closer to the water. But you move inland and it is very, very dry with their readings right now in the low to mid 40s. So the winds are coming in out of the northwest. They're going to shift around and come down due north, and then they'll shift back towards the northwest, and that will help to bring about temperatures that are going to be much colder than we experienced yesterday. So right now those winds have been anywhere from 10 to 15 miles to the north, and over the southern counties we're looking at 15-mile-per-hour winds. Cold temperatures across the northern tier of the country, but right here along the Sun Coast, our temperature high today got up to 68 degrees with an overnight low of 62, and we're going to see a real change in our temperatures, as I mentioned, as much as 10 to 12 degrees. This is what it looked like this morning with temperatures in the 60s, and this is what it is going to look like tomorrow morning. We're going to be seeing our temperatures in the 40s and 50s. So you'll want to drive or find a jacket. You're going to need to wear some kind of warm up for tonight. We're going to be looking at temperatures in the 60s right now, but as you saw, they're going to continue to drop. So for tomorrow, small craft advisories are in effect through the morning hours. Winds are coming in out of the north at 20 knots, seas 4 to 6 feet. It's choppy out on the bay and inland waters, and we've got sunny conditions for tomorrow, but we're also looking at a temperature reading at the beach of 65 degrees. This is what it looks like for the rest of the week. Breezy tomorrow again, and then lots and lots of sunshine. And take a look at this weekend. We warm up so nicely with our temperatures back up into the 70s and 80s. There's no reason to leave the state. Why would you go anywhere? It's just going to be great.
My name is Stephen Campagna. We're Ben Gates and Dramus, and here is your law tip of the week. If you've been injured in an accident, whether or not it's your fault, your insurance company might be responsible for some of your expenses. So give us a call. We've got your back.
I owed the IRS $10,000.
I owed the IRS $20,000.
The IRS garnished my wages.
They put a lien on my house.
The IRS is the most powerful collection agency in the world. They do not give up until you pay.
I couldn't sleep. We were being audited. I called Tax Solutions Now, and a great big weight was lifted off my shoulders.
I called Tax Solutions Now, and they got the IRS off my back.
Tax Solutions Now had my wage garnishment lifted in 48 hours.
Tax Solutions Now can get you help. Our agents know the rules, can stop the pain, and get you the best deal.
We saved our home and overcame the most powerful collection agency in the world.
We connect you with a team of former IRS agents and tax professionals who get the IRS off your back. Time is running out. Call Tax Solutions Now.
Call 1-800-565-7740. That's 1-800-565-7740.
Thank you. You got a king?
Go fish!
It only takes a moment to make a moment. Take time to be a dad today.
Tomorrow at 4 on Suncoast View.
Spring has sprung, and that means it's time to get ready for Easter. I'm Stephanie Roberts on Suncoast View. Our Fun Money Mom blogger is back with budget-friendly ways to create an amazing Easter basket. A young Venice magician enjoyed the national spotlight on America's Got Talent. Now he'll share his magic skills with us. Plus a Cirque du Voix preview, and hosted gourmet catering joins us in the kitchen.
Tomorrow at 4 on Suncoast View.
Watch ABC7 wherever you are. Just search ABC7 on your streaming device to keep up with the Suncoast from the comfort of your couch. Download ABC7 now to watch us on TV anytime you want. ABC7, we're here for you wherever you are.
Welcome back. The police chief on Longboat Key says solving crimes got a whole lot easier when the town installed cameras that can read license plates. Police are tipped off anytime someone drives on the key who may be wanted by law enforcement. So why wouldn't other police departments want similar technology? ABC7's Ray Collins takes a closer look.
Last August, the Suncoast was awakened to a shocking double homicide overnight at a new high-end resort on Longboat Key. 2 workers at the Zota Resort were killed, and a short time later, police arrested a former employee. And they found their man, in part, thanks to these surveillance cameras that could read license plates of those rushing off the key at 3 a.m.
The license plate readers were instrumental in identifying people that were associated with that investigation, yes.
Detective Eric Smith says these cameras on either end of the key have tipped them off to a variety of lawbreakers, both big and small. Someone can just drive on the key, and if they've got something outstanding, it'll pop right away for you guys?
It's supposed to.
Do you know how many times a week it might happen?
It happens daily. At certain times of the day, it goes off, and you actually end up, it drives you nuts.
It helps your investigations?
Of course. This technology is beneficial in so many ways.
Longboat Key Police Chief Pete Cumming has held this job now for 6 years, and the cameras arrived 5 years ago, and he says they have helped in a variety of investigations.
If the car is stolen, we're going to get an alert. If the registered owner has an arrest warrant, we're going to be alerted that that person's come onto the island, or at least the vehicle has. If there's a missing person involved or a sexual predator, we're going to know that.
And even though police here on Longboat Key are pleased by this license plate technology, the city of Sarasota recently turned down the opportunity for a similar program. Sarasota just voted to approve new high-tech red light cameras, but they turned down the option of having those cameras read license plates to help solve crimes. A majority of commissioners were concerned about the cameras being an invasion of privacy.
The feeling that you can be tracked anywhere that you go, and the I guess the argument that that would be a violation of your Fourth Amendment right to avoid searches and seizures.
What do you say to critics who call it an invasion of privacy?
And I've had that argument. And the only time we're going to see an image of a tag or get any kind of alert on it is if the registered owner of that vehicle is associated with a crime, or the vehicle's stolen, or it's a missing person, amber alert, silver alert, something that's going to benefit the community entirely. So if you come on the island, we're not going to know it, but if that car's stolen, then we are.
And as for the chief's reaction to Sarasota voting down the technology?
I don't know. I don't know.
On Longboat Key, Ray Collins, ABC7, your Suncoast News.
Sarasota Police Chief Bernadette DePino is a fan of the license plate camera. She says if her staff is gathering more information and plans to approach commissioners in the near future in hopes of changing their minds. And joining us once again is Susan Nylon of the ACLU, private investigator Bill Warner, and ABC7's Dwayne Lindo. Susan, is your concern the use of these cameras for situations like the police describe, or the misuse potentially of this technology?
Well, it's definitely the misuse. I mean, it's wonderful to say that people who are not involved in a crime aren't going to be tracked, but that information has to be put into the system somehow. Who's to say that somebody isn't going to put your information in because they're looking for something that has nothing to do with an actual crime but want to track you? Or say, for example, there's somebody's leaking information to the press, and all of a sudden, you know, they're meeting you in a certain location, and they monitor that location through these cameras, and they figure that the same person, every time you're there, somebody else is there. You know, that's going to be a problem. There's going to be a lot of issues that have come up.
Bill, I would imagine that you are a fan of these cameras, but you could see, in fact, I believe you can extrapolate this issue to what's happening in Washington early on in the Trump administration, when there's a lot of discussion of who is picked up on foreign surveillance, that, you know, maybe people can be picked up as being located on Longboat Key that did nothing wrong except for being there, and could the information be misused?
A friend of mine recently drove over to Longboat Key, didn't realize that his driver's license had expired. Okay, he got stopped. They treated him very fairly. They did not give him a ticket. They gave him a warning. He was not a wanted criminal. He went and got his license taken care of. End of story. No, I don't believe this. Look at the Austin serial bomber. The reason they caught him is because of surveillance photos of his vehicle. The license plate was put out on a bolo. Look for this vehicle. They found it through license plate readers on the vehicles of the sheriff's department and the police department, and they also used the what do you call it, the surveillance with the cell phone to track him to the motel, and also they stopped him on the road. They found him using the license plate reader.
Right. Dwayne, I would imagine, well, number one, Longboat Key is a different kind of situation because there's one access point and one point where you could leave the island, or the key, I should say. But when you're dealing with a community like Sarasota, which is diverse, has different neighborhoods and different concerns, you can imagine people in some communities might not be too happy about that.
And you know, that's the reason why Sarasota Vice Mayor Liz Alpert said, look, this may be an invasion of privacy because you have, Sarasota is a bigger city, you have a small island, Longboat Key, that's with a number of residents, maybe visitors, that you may not see it too often, but you may get those alerts quite more, or a lot more than you would Longboat Key than in Sarasota.
Right, but you know, privacy concerns on one hand, Susan, we live in a dangerous world right now, and we always hear about London. London has cameras everywhere.
Yep. Been there myself.
And where, you know, things still may happen there, but it does give law enforcement a great advantage in being able to identify people who do something wrong.
Yeah, I'm not discounting the advantage that it gives law enforcement, and you're right, there's a lot of examples where it's really helped solve crimes that couldn't have been solved any other way. The concern is what happens to all the other information. The concern is how long do they keep that information in record? And what do they do beyond that? Who's actually looking at this information? And are they going to outsource it to private companies, or is it going to stay within the police force? Those are all those questions, and without the right policies in place, everything should be a concern.
Bill, is that a fair enough point? Because obviously in your friend's situation, he was treated quite fairly, but we've seen so many instances in our own American experience, including the bulk collection of data, which has a lot of people suspicious of what Big Brother is doing with it.
All right. I have access to the Florida DMV on license plates. The only information that I can get, or anybody can get from that, name, address, date of birth, so forth. There's nothing else there. There's no big conglomerate of information. And besides that, in the 8th Circuit Court in Missouri, they ruled that it is not a violation of your Fourth Amendment right.
Except I would have to say that if they start to track you, they take your license plate and they track that you went to the store, they track whether you went to church, maybe they track that you go out and party too much every night. I mean, we just are giving a lot more information than just our license plate.
Right, and Dwayne, as you said, that there are different parts of the community that may be more apt to have hits that come up on the system than others. You know, is this something that you describe what the commissioner is saying in terms of the reservations from her part, but are there reservations in the community in general?
Yeah, that's the reason why the commission decided not to do this. So, I mean, you're going to have this issue from here on in. I don't think the commission at this point, if it comes up again sometime later, I don't think the commission approves this, but we'll see what happens.
Susan, would you be more open to this idea if, whether it's the city of Sarasota or other communities, come up with very specific policies and regulations governing them?
Yeah, I definitely would be open to it. I'd want to know where all the information that they gather that they aren't using for to solve crimes. I'd want to know the policies that are in place and the balance between my personal right to privacy versus somebody who has broken the law. And I'm not necessarily willing to give that up just because they need to do a better job at finding those criminals.
Bill,
go ahead. It's already out there. Most law enforcement has a license plate reader on their dashboard of their vehicle. It's been out there for years. This is nothing new. They just want to put it in certain strategic spots to catch some bad people.
Yeah,
they're not looking to track people. It's not. I don't think that's the purpose.
And we've opposed a lot of those for quite some time. I mean, our concerns about license plate readers and red light cameras have gone back for decades. So this is nothing new to us either.
No. But when you're dealing with the license plate on your car, obviously that is something that is visible to the public.
Yep.
You could, you know, and if there is a warrant for your arrest or any other information, if it's in plain sight for all the world to see, why not?
Because it's not whether it's in plain sight, it's whether you're tracking me. You're finding out exactly where I go, what I do, and when I do it. And then it's what happens to that information once you collect it. It's wonderful if everybody is doing it for the best of intentions, but when it gets to be nefarious in intention, then what happens? We've seen plenty of circumstances. There are a lot of cases out there that the police have used this information without a search warrant, without jurisdiction of the courts, and they just start gathering the information, and it's.
We only have a couple of seconds left, Bill, but I want to give you a chance to respond to that.
Okay. I just don't see. I don't see what this tracking is all about. I'm not aware of any kind of tracking used by the license plate readers. It's used for one purpose only: to read the license plate. Is the person wanted? Is the vehicle stolen? I don't understand where you're getting this tracking from. I have no knowledge of anybody using that to track people.
Well, because the police, that's the whole point. They don't just look in one spot. They look at all the spots to find out where people are going.
Right,
so they do track them.
We have to take a quick break, and we'll be back for final thoughts in a moment. Stay with us.
It's time to take a road trip.
Burn rubber for Birmingham, where you can feed your need for speed at Barber Motorsports Park and Museum. Now this gets my motor running. Meet Iron Men. Hey there, big guy. And make a date with your 9-iron. Feed the animals at the zoo and the birds. Then enjoy the award-winning restaurant scene. Alabama has a road trip with your name on it.
Which one you gonna take?
Since 1972, Sleep King has provided quality mattresses and accessories at the best discounted prices available. Top brands like Simmons, Sealy, Serta, Beautyrest, iComfort, and more. With available free delivery, free financing, and free setup and removal. For a comfortable night's sleep with same-day delivery, even if we have to carry it on our backs. Trust Sleep King of Sarasota. Buy it today, sleep on it tonight.
Soldiers in the Army National Guard live up to a set of time-honored principles.
I will always place the mission first.
They stand ready to respond to any crisis.
I will never accept defeat.
They serve in their communities as citizens and as soldiers.
I will never quit.
They train part-time to be ready to serve at all times.
I will never leave a fallen comrade.
Learn more at nationalguard.com.
My name is Stephen Jaffe. The law firm's name is Farmer Jaffe. One of the beautiful things about Julius is he's always smiling, and it becomes infectious. The fact that Julius has a disability has absolutely nothing to do with the quality of work that he's done. Just a great person you want on your staff.
Hi, this is Dan Marino. When your business recruits people with disabilities, everybody wins. To find out how, go to disabilitieswork.employflorida.com.
Check out My Suncoast Dining on mysuncoast.com, your guide to the foodie lifestyle. ABC7's own Chef Judy serves up her favorite recipes, cooking tips and trends, dining blogs, step-by-step videos, and Suncoast Restaurant Guide. You'll find it all at mysuncoast.com/dining.
And our guests join us right now for final thoughts. We've been debating this through the commercial break, folks. Susan, I mean, are there a lot of people out there, is the ACLU involved in terms of trying to litigate the use of these license plate cameras?
I don't necessarily know if there's a live active case involved, and you know, we're a big organization, so I don't want to speak to that particularly, but like I said on break, we've been following this since at least 2000. We've written a lot of pieces. We've really paid attention to the legislation that's out there, and we offer our opinion to the legislators.
And Bill, you make good points here, but we're living in a time when a lot of people are suspicious of the government.
Of course, right.
And they may be suspicious that, you know, there are obviously very good police officers out there doing the right thing, but, you know, if you have access to this information, maybe you can misuse it.
I really still don't see how, because these license plate readers read thousands of cars every day. It happens all the time. Where do you store all this information? This just doesn't happen.
I would imagine, Dwayne, that a lot of police departments like the Sarasota Police Department are trying to do their research and get back to commissioners and somehow find the right argument to change commissioners' minds and allow them to come into this city and as well as other communities.
Look, I mean, there's arguments on both sides. We're going to see surveillance cameras more and more throughout the year. So, look, this is something that they may take up sometime in the near future. Mark my words.
Okay, thank you all. Before we go, we want to share with you what some of you had to say about last night's show on the red flag legislation. Police departments across Florida are now using the brand new gun law known as red flag legislation, just passed by the state legislature. It gives law enforcement the power to remove guns and ammunition from anyone believed to be a danger to themselves or anyone else. We went to Facebook to hear your thoughts, and Diane says, who determines if you would be a danger? Julie says, probably people that need to be put under the Baker Act. I'm all for having guns, but not if you are experiencing a mental health crisis. And Zanny says, considering the Baker Act allows you to involuntarily check someone into the hospital if they pose an immediate threat to themselves or others, it's really not far-fetched to also temporarily take away that person's weapon or ammunition. And Jeff says, anyone believed to be dangerous, some dangerous person? Yeah, how could that go wrong? Well, if you'd like to join the conversation on tonight's topic, just visit our Facebook page at facebook.com/mysuncoast.com.abc7. And FYI, you can watch past discussions on demand. They're available on Apple TV, Amazon Fire, and Roku. And for the latest on local breaking news, don't forget to download the updated version of our app. If your current app doesn't work, it's expired, just go to the App Store and re-download it by searching for WWSB or My Suncoast. We want to thank all our guests for being here tonight. Susan Nylon of the ACLU, private investigator Bill Warner, and ABC7's Dwayne Lindo. When we return, we'll have a final look at your first alert weather, plus more details on the misuse of Facebook in the 2016 presidential election. Stay with us.
For more than 100 years, American Humane Association has been teaching kids to be kind to animals. Those in our homes, on the farms, on the silver screen, and wildlife conservation, caring for the world's vanishing creatures. But we can't do it alone. Visit kindness100.org to find ways to teach kids how they can make a more caring, compassionate, and humane world for all of us.
Chris Domine is a husband, father, an athlete, even an Ironman. But 10 years ago, Chris's kidneys were failing.
The doctor said if you don't do dialysis, if you don't get a kidney transplant, you are going to die.
Then Chris received a second chance, made possible by an organ donor.
Your well-being changes from loss of hope to better times ahead.
Imagine what you could make possible. Learn more and sign up as an organ, eye, and tissue donor. Go to organdonor.gov.
Many websites selling medication may look professional and legitimate, but the vast majority of sites selling prescription drugs are doing so illegally. Criminals use websites to sell counterfeit medications that may contain life-threatening toxins. Dot Pharmacy is a website verification program that helps you identify safe and trustworthy online pharmacies. Purchasing medicine online can be safe and easy. Just look for pharmacy to the right of the dot in website addresses.
Every time you purchase a fishing license or register your boat, you're helping to preserve our nation's coastlines, lakes, rivers, and streams, protecting memories for generations to come. Learn how your participation in boating and fishing can help the environment at takemefishing.org/conservation.
Your primetime headlines are coming up in a moment, but right now let's get a final check on our first alert forecast with meteorologist Wendy Ross. Wendy.
Hello, Ellen. And now that the cold front has gone through, we're looking at cold, dry air moving on in. Temperatures 8 to 12 degrees colder than yesterday and gusty winds. And you've already experienced most of that. The cold front is well south of us, and we have low pressure that is developing across the northeast, bringing another nor'easter to that part of the world. And we are looking at high pressure sitting on top of us that will be our fair weather friend over the next couple of days. And we are going to see a long period of dry air sitting on top of us. So right now we've got the snowy, icy, rainy conditions from the Tennessee Valley northward, and across the western part of the country we've got rain coming on in there, but those showers are coming in with a cold front, low pressure system across the northwest, creating the snow showers that they're getting in the upper levels of the elevations. And what we're looking at are a couple of clouds that are going to be moving on through tonight, but mostly we have very dry conditions taking place, and those winds have been strong throughout the day, moving in out of the northwest. We'll get a passing cloud tonight, and then we're going to see the wind shifting around and coming in out of the north, and that's going to help to drive those temperatures down. So this is what it looks like for the overnight time period. A few clouds here and there, but for the most part we are going to see fair skies. Those sustained winds are now anywhere from 8 to 10 miles per hour, a little bit stronger along the beaches, but as you move to the south they're stronger still, and we're still looking at 13, 12 mile per hour winds, and that's taking place no matter whether you're at the beach or farther inland. Now across the nation we've got temperatures in the 30s across the Great Lakes, the Northeast, the northern tier of the country. Down to the south we've got readings in the 60s and 70s out west, and of course they're much earlier in time than we are by 3 hours, but across the southeast temperatures are mostly in the 60s still. But we are not getting any snow. That's all being reserved to the northern tier of the nation and across the northeast, where they're expecting anywhere from 2 to 4 feet of snow in some locations across the northeast with this next brutal storm that's coming across. Today we got up to a high of 68, the overnight low 62 degrees. Again, that temperature change 8 to 10 degrees colder, or even 12 degrees colder. This morning it was in the 60s. Tomorrow morning it will be in the 40s and 50s. So you will need to bundle up tonight. It's going to be cold. Right now we've got temperatures in the 60s and we have mostly fair skies. And tomorrow the overnight lows that we're experiencing are not going to warm up very much. So you can expect to see those temperatures only getting up into the mid-60s for the daytime highs. Make sure you find that jacket or that blanket. You're going to need it. Small craft advisories are going to be in effect through tomorrow. Winds will be out of the north at 20 knots, seas 4 to 6 feet, and it will be choppy out on the bay and inland waters. 65 degrees if you dare to go to the beach tomorrow. We're looking at mostly cloudy conditions, or mostly partly cloudy skies. Mostly we're going to be seeing partly cloudy, not mostly cloudy skies for tonight. 50 degrees for the overnight low. And over the next several days, it is going to be gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. Chilly start, but look at our weekend. Oh, our weekend is looking awfully good. So you're going to enjoy it. You'll be glad you're here.
WWSB ABC7 is an equal opportunity employer, and we're looking for qualified people to join our dynamic team. For a list of current openings and to apply online, visit www.mysuncoast.com/contact/employment. If you're a motivated team player and you want a rewarding career in a fun, fast-paced working environment, WWSB ABC7 could be the perfect fit for you. Check out our list of openings now.
My name is Luke Perry, and I am 1 million strong. I'm in the fight against colorectal cancer because I believe we can win it. Colon and rectal cancers are the second leading cause of cancer deaths among men and women in the U.S. Colon cancer is preventable. Know the risk factors and make sure to get screened. There are simple, take-home options available. Take control of your health. Screening for colon cancer isn't embarrassing. It can be life-saving. To find out more about your options, visit fightcrc.org.
So I kind of grew up all across the country. I come from 5 generations of military men. My dad is still active duty. My grandpa is retired Marines. I like going for runs with my dog. I love, taking her out to the dog beach over in Venice. There are so many things here to do on the Suncoast. My goal every day when I come into work at ABC7 is to tell your stories, give you that major local news and those details that you really care about. I'm Jacqueline Matter, and I'm here for you.
Everybody can make something, because I think everyone has a spark of creativity, and the reason that I have to keep making is because I don't think my life would be as fulfilling without it. If you make things yourself, that means you're not cowering in fear. You're out there taking chances. That, I think, is my way of saying I love you to the world. All right, now I want to hear why you make.
Share your own Why I Make story today. Visit whyimake.org.
Thanks to the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society, what was once impossible is happening today for thousands of patients with blood cancer.
I live.
I live. I live. I live. I live. She lives.
Because of the research done by the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society in the battle against blood cancer.
If you had a chance to support the research that is saving lives, what would you do?
Checking primetime headlines, the fallout for Facebook continues with new revelations about the massive data breach that was allegedly used by Cambridge Analytica, the same company deeply involved with the Trump campaign online efforts to try to sway the election. The board of the British research firm says it has suspended CEO Alexander Nix, and Congress says it has questions for Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg. ABC's Lana Zach has the latest in Washington.
Congress says they have serious questions after undercover video from Britain's Channel 4 appears to reveal top executives at Cambridge Analytica boasting about their role in getting Donald Trump elected president.
When you think about the fact that Donald Trump lost the popular vote by 3 million votes, but won the Electoral College vote, that's down to the data and the research.
The UK-based company was co-founded by the Mercer family, major donors to the Trump campaign. Steve Bannon once served as a vice president. Records show the Trump campaign paid nearly $6 million to the firm, which is accused of using Facebook data from up to 50 million users obtained improperly by a third party to target American voters. The company denies that data was used in the Trump campaign and deleted it when they found out it was improperly obtained. Cambridge Analytica announced that they have suspended CEO Alexander Nix pending an investigation. He was caught on tape describing election tricks his company could employ internationally. At another part of the report, he bragged about his role helping to get the president elected.
Have you met Mr. Trump?
Many times.
You have?
We did all the research, all the data, all the analytics, all the targeting.
The revelations have taken a financial toll on Facebook stock, and the hashtag #Where'sZuck started trending following Facebook founder Mark Zuckerberg's delay to comment. He issued a statement just before 4 p.m. Wednesday in which he writes, "We also made mistakes. There's more to do, and we need to step up and do it." Congressional hearings on Facebook have been postponed because of the snow. Meanwhile, the first civil case has been filed in district court against Cambridge Analytica and Facebook. Lana Zach, ABC News, Washington.
More on that class action lawsuit. It has been filed in federal court against Facebook and Cambridge Analytica for collecting personal information of millions of Facebook users. It was filed by a Maryland woman who says her privacy was violated when the information of nearly 50 million Facebook users was disclosed without permission. The lawsuit was filed in federal court in California, where Facebook is based. The plaintiff says the lawsuit is for all Facebook users in the U.S. whose personal information was obtained by Cambridge Analytica without authorization. A source says President Trump is furious about leaked information regarding the guidance he received before his phone call with Russian President Vladimir Putin. The Washington Post first reported Trump congratulated Putin on being reelected, which his advisors warned him not to do. It is not clear if Trump read the guidance ahead of the call. The source says only a few people would have known about the guidance, and the leak reinforces Trump's idea that some staffers want to undermine him. According to a White House official, Chief of Staff John Kelly is also very upset about the leak. Police have identified the Austin serial bombing suspect as 23-year-old Mark Anthony Condit. They have not released additional information about Condit, except to say he is the man responsible for all the Austin package bombs and was capable of making sophisticated explosive devices. Condit killed himself when police who had been staking him out at his hotel followed him onto Interstate 35 early this morning. They say as SWAT team members closed in on him, he pulled his car into a ditch and detonated a bomb, blowing himself up. The latest Trump administration official under fire for lavish spending is EPA Administrator Scott Pruitt. Official documents show he spent more than $30,000 in security expenses on a week-long trip to Italy last summer. That in addition to more than $53,000 it was already known he spent on the trip, bringing the total to $84,000. The purpose of the trip was to meet with international energy ministers at a summit. And 2 female northern white rhinos are the only animals left to save their species from extinction. The females are the offspring of Sudan, a prize male rhino euthanized after battling illness and old age. Scientists say they need to preserve the northern white rhino is dire. In a race against time, international experts are resorting to science to try to sustain the species, but there is no white rhinos left in the wild. And that's all the time we have for this evening. I'm Alan Cohen. Thanks for joining us. Have a good night.